Welcome to Fantasy and Enchantment, where I describe fantasy books to my husband and see if he's enchanted. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Justin.
Today we are talking about the second book in the Stolen Heir duology, which is The Prisoner's Throne, which is also, I think this thing says number 5 in the Alfheim series, which is connected to The Cruel Prince.
It's too many books, is what it is.
Okay.
That's the solution here.
But it's the last one.
Thank Christ.
Okay.
Good riddance.
Okay. I'm assuming you're going to need a recap.
A little bit. Spoiler alert. I guess peeling back the curtain a little bit, I just did some of the editing on the previous episode.
You did like 10 minutes of the editing. There was a whole book.
But it gave me the gist of it. I kind of remember.
Okay.
So I remember some of it. Also, I had a squeaky chair in that episode, so we swapped out chairs, so I shouldn't be quite as squeaky this time. So if you heard a squeaky chair, whoops.
Okay.
Fixed it.
Okay. Either way, we'll do the description and then the cover, since I know you like to give your thoughts on the covers.
Cover's my favorite part. Best part of these books.
We'll do a small recap and then we'll get started.
Right.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, description first. Prince Oak is paying for his betrayal. Imprisoned in the icy north and bound to the will of a monstrous new queen, he must rely on charm and calculation to survive, with High King Carden and High Queen Jude willing to use any means necessary to retrieve their stolen heir. Oak will have to decide whether to attempt regaining the trust of the girl he's always loved or to remain loyal to Alfheim and hand over the means to end her reign, even if it means ending Renher too. With a new war looming on the horizon and treachery lurking in every corner, neither Oak's guile nor his wit will be enough to keep everyone he loves alive. It's just a question of who he will doom.
Okay.
Don't sound so excited.
I think I forgot how the last one ended. I remember it ended stupid, but I don't remember how it ended.
So, Oak went on this big quest with Surin to confront her mother, Lady Nor.
Yeah.
In the process...
Here's the problem. They call her by 2 different names, which is dumb.
Well, so Surin is her name.
Yeah.
She goes by Ren, because that's like a nickname.
Yeah, stupid.
Okay.
Pick a title. Pick a name.
We'll call her Ren.
Dumb.
Anyway, in the process, Ren found out that Oak knew she had this magical heart in her, and he was keeping a secret from her. And so she got pretty upset about it, and that's the end of that book.
Okay.
Okay?
Right. Let me see the cover.
Boom.
It's a ring on a branch with some ice and a butterfly.
Yep.
I don't think butterflies would be where it's icy.
Well...
They migrate.
Well, yeah, no, maybe not, but it's not meant to be literal. Okay.
I don't like it.
You never like any of them.
The last one I didn't hate too much.
Yeah.
This one I don't care for.
Okay. Good talk.
No, sir, I don't like it.
So we already kind of did the recap.
A little bit.
Okay.
Enough, I guess. If you're here listening to this, chances are you read this book and you don't need a recap. Well, and you're mostly here for my charming banter.
Is that what that is?
That's what it is. That's what the people call it.
Okay. I do that for your benefit.
Yeah, because
otherwise you would be just question mark all over the place.
Yeah, for the first 20 minutes of every podcast, I'd look at you like a monkey trying to solve a math problem.
Yeah. So, you're welcome.
Which, I mean, in fairness, I still do a pretty fair amount of the time.
You should see his face sometimes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, my face is nice. Nice enough.
It's decent.
I'm a Utah 5.
What does that even mean?
Ask the people in Utah.
I've only been there
Don't talk to people in Utah.
once, I think.
Actually, I'm probably more like a Utah 6. I think I could be a 6 in Utah.
I think you're at least a Utah 7.
Hey, look at that. Well, in fairness, you have sex with me, so you probably have a little bit of a higher expectation than most people. I was trying to be realistic.
I'm biased.
You're a little biased. I was trying to be realistic, for the masses.
Okay.
I don't try to oversell it. I've made it awfully far on what I've got. Let's go with that.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
The book.
So, 6 weeks before the very beginning of the last book, Stolen Air. So it's another prologue.
Why wasn't this just in the last book as the prologue?
So, the last book was basically told entirely from Ren's perspective. This one is from Oak's perspective, so we're getting new information because
damn
it's
it.
from Oak.
It's stupid. Why would they do that halfway through the story?
It's not. It's a lot farther than halfway, and also,
Which makes me feel good that it's more than halfway. That means that I don't have as much to deal with for this one.
well, I just meant that there's 5 books total, and this is number 5.
Oh, damn it.
So that's what I was going for. But anyway, it's helpful. It's an interesting way to get new information you didn't have before as a reader.
But the author could have just given you all of the information.
But that's not necessarily good storytelling, Justin.
Disagree.
Shut up. How about shut your face?
It's like putting a flashback at the end of a movie. It's silly. Unless it's in Saw. At the end of Saw they do that, and you realize that you saw everything at the first part of the very beginning in the credits of the movie, but you don't realize what you saw until the very end when they go back, and it's like, oh shit, there was the key the whole time. Now he cut his leg off.
You remember how just earlier today we were talking about how we should try to make these shorter?
Well, sometimes I gotta talk about things that I know about, which is like horror movies and pro wrestling. So
And metal album covers.
and yeah, black metal album covers. I could talk about that all day. But
Okay.
that's not what the people are here for. They're here for your crappy book covers.
Shut up.
This book sucks. It's a crappy cover.
Okay. There are better ones, I promise.
Yeah, well, there was the one with the guy and the hair that we did like 2 weeks ago.
Quicksilver?
Yeah, that one. That was a better cover than what this one was.
Okay. Because you hated that one too.
Well, yeah, I kind of did. Because he looked all pouty. It was better than this one, and that should tell you something. I didn't like that one, and I don't like this one more.
Can we get back on track, please?
Right.
Okay.
I forgot about the track.
So, Oak's perspective. He is climbing on a bed with someone named Lady Elaine.
Okay.
She wants to put Oak on the throne. So he's doing this thing that he does where he puts himself close to people who are trying to threaten the throne so he can kind of demolish these plots before they happen.
Okay. So he was having sex with her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we ever address if he has a goat penis or a regular penis?
No, and that is not addressed in this book. I'm so sorry to tell you.
It really ought to be. Especially if they're doing a sex scene with him. You gotta know about his penis.
It's not a sex scene, though.
But he's getting out of bed,
But, yeah.
theoretically fucking somebody.
Yeah, but that's a lot.
Is he fucking him? Oh man, I got a goat sound in here. I didn't even plan for that. But man, why have I not been doing goat sounds for every single book? That's a huge missed opportunity. I apologize for all of the audience.
I'm just gonna
Meh.
keep going.
All right.
He runs to the gardens, and then Oriana, his mom, catches him. She tells him to start acting like the heir because everyone thinks he's like sleeping around all the time and having a good time and whatever.
Does he run to the garden or does he gallop? I assume it goat, or does like that weird skippy bouncy thing that goats do.
Okay. Again, I'm just gonna blow right past
Just
that.
gonna ignore me altogether. That's what she does most of the time.
Okay. So, the High King and Queen then show up, and that's Carden and Jude. Someone says that they still act as though every problem would best be solved through murder. So Oak is trying to, like, subterfuge his way through these plots, but Jude and Carden are still like, let's just kill everybody.
They choose violence.
They choose violence.
All right.
Jude especially.
Well, that's what I mean, it's a good way to solve a problem.
They have this big ceremony where Oak is formally declared the heir to the throne, which he's not very excited about.
He's still full Jon Snow. He don't want it.
Yeah. And then afterwards they have like a big banquet. It's been 9 years since the snake incident.
Okay.
Carden at one point makes a joke about it.
Oh. 9 years since I climbed out of that snake that you cut the head off of.
Well, he says something about, like, you turn into a snake one time, and everybody mentions it all the time.
I mean, yeah, people are gonna mention
Yeah.
it. If I turned into some giant weird animal and then I just stopped being that, it'd probably come up in conversation pretty frequently.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Oak, again, says to Jude and Carden that he doesn't want to rule anything. And we also meet Leander, who is Locke and Taryn's son. So Taryn was pregnant at the end of Queen of Nothing.
Right.
She has a child.
Has a child.
Because that's how that works. You go from pregnant to not.
Yep.
In one way or another.
You either go to pregnant to not, and you either have a baby or you don't have a baby.
Yes.
As that turns out.
Oak dances with Lady Elaine, because he's, again, trying to get information out of her about this plot that she's planning. Tiernan finds Oak and says Carden knows about the plot, and that he might suspect Oak of being involved with it. Which, it's not unheard of for heirs to mysteriously die in order to prevent them from taking over from the other person.
Okay, well, I mean, from a king's perspective, having an heir who doesn't want to be the king makes you feel pretty good as the king.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, it's better than, like, the heir wanting to kill you all the time.
Carden also didn't want to be king, and here he is, 9 or 10 years
It's
later.
a real shitty kingdom that nobody wants to be in charge of.
Okay.
We're like, oh, God, I don't want to run this fucking place.
Oak gets drunk, and then he decides to go rooting around in Jude's room for ibuprofen, because he knows what that is. But
Right, because it's set loosely in the real world.
Yes.
So ibuprofen's a thing.
Yep. And then he finds her birth control. But then Jude and Carden come into the room, and he panics and, like, hides under a table.
Well, yeah, because nobody would notice a goat person under their table. That's not conspicuous at all.
Maybe it's a really big table. We
It'd
don't know.
have to be a big table.
And that's when he hears Carden and Jude talk about Maddox. I think it's Jude in particular who says we can't ransom him. So they know that Maddox is being kept in this icy castle in the Court of Teeth. They don't want to do anything about it.
Well, he was kind of a cunt in that original series, so I could imagine they wouldn't want to go rescue him.
Yeah.
Leave his ass there.
I mean, they got multiple reasons for not wanting to do that, really.
Yeah.
And then that is when Oak decides to go find Nelly's heart, which is the thing that Ren has
Yeah.
that makes her, like, have crazy powers and stuff. We'll get
Okay.
into that more in this book.
I was going to say, because so far her powers have been being a smurf and biting through stuff. So she's got rat powers. Blue rat powers.
Okay. Also, mainly, the heart gives her the ability to unmake things. So that's why she was able to break the curse on the bird guy. And she, I think, broke the troll curse at the end of the last book. And she can undo magic. She unmakes things.
Okay.
Prologue is over. We're back at the Ice Citadel.
Wow, that was... How many chapters was the prologue? Because typically a prologue's like a couple of pages. I felt like that had to be...
I wrote
couple.
down, like...
Yeah, there's a lot of bullet points there. That's
okay,
a lot of...
I don't remember.
That's a
Okay.
lot of prologue.
For the record, I got this book from the library. I don't have the copy anymore. I don't know how long the chapter was just.
Too long.
Also,
That's what I'm
you
saying.
derailed me a couple times, so
Well-
it's your own fault.
That's fake news. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure it is. Anyway, Oak is still in the prison. He screams for Seren sometimes. Ren, I'm sorry, I called her by her other name.
Too many names. Why does one person need multiple names?
I mean, I know it's a weird thing for us because you can't do that with either one of our names, but some people have names that lend themselves to nicknames, like Josh and Joshua. And
Yeah, but
I work with a guy whose name is Jonathan, but he gets called Johnny. Like, that's a thing that happens.
yeah, but wouldn't you just you just go by one? You don't intermingle.
I mean, maybe, but if it were like a formal or...
I mean, look, I call my dad Shit for Brains all the time, and that's my go-to name for him. I just call him Shit for Brains all the time. He calls me asshole. It works out really well.
Okay. Anyway. There's a guard named Strawn who tells him to shut up and also calls him a traitor's son. Bran has now woken up all of the Troll Kings, so she's officially broken that curse. The prison Oak is in has iron bars, so he can't get too close to it because iron hurts fairies.
Right. It's a thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's a thing. But there's a servant who comes down to give him food, and he starts flirting with her. He asks the servant to speak with Ren. And the servant's like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. And then he wakes up later, and there's a metal snake crawling down the wall. And then he talks to it.
That's what I would do if I saw a metal snake crawling down a wall?
Yes.
I'd be like, hey, what's up, metal snake? How you doing? And it'd probably go, because it's a snake.
Well, actually, what it does is go, be ready for rescue in 3 days.
Okay.
So it talks back. And then Oak sees that it's got, like, holes in its fangs, so he smashes it and sees that there's a glass vial inside. And it's got blusher mushroom, which is a poison. It's also the poison that he's immune to.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
Is that a real thing?
blusher mushroom?
Yeah.
I'm honestly not sure.
I mean, I'm not up to date on my fungi, so I'm
Yeah.
not really sure.
Who knows? Could be.
Could be.
I don't...
Google it.
Okay.
Somebody else, not us. We're not doing it.
Not us, not right now. So he takes a ring and a bunch of, like, gems off of the snake. He listens for the guards to rotate out, and then bangs on the bars when he hears Stroud, the one who was yelling at him. And then he tries to bribe him with the gems, so Stroud smacks his arm and knocks the gems to the floor. Stroud calls her his Winter Queen, and then he just, like, marches away. But Oak has been partially trained by the Roach, who's a pickpocket. He grabbed the keys from the guard while the guard was, like, smacking him around.
Okay. So now he's got keys.
So now he's got keys. He uses the keys to escape, and then uses the vial of blusher mushroom to knock out Stroud.
Does he just throw it at him or something?
See, this is why, remember when we were talking about my notes are too detailed sometimes?
Yeah.
I didn't write it down.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Well, it wasn't that important.
Okay.
What's important is he got knocked out.
Well, yeah, but then sometimes you ask questions like that, and I'm like, I don't know.
Well, the people don't care.
Okay.
I don't really care either.
Okay.
I'm just asking questions because sometimes I just want to talk.
I mean, that is the point of this.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And that's what you're here for. And we're glad you're here. Thanks for listening.
That sounded...
Back to Sarah.
That sounded a little sarcastic.
It wasn't sarcastic. It was kind of like my radio announcer guy voice, or like I was a TV game show host or something, was what I was going for.
I'm going to need you to practice that a little bit.
Well, this is why I'm not a TV game show host. This is why I drive a truck for a living.
Yep.
And occasionally do a podcast that doesn't make us any money. It's just kind of a thing we do for fun.
Yep.
Also, if anybody's listening that wants to pay for advertisement or give us money, go ahead, do that. Reach out, send us an email, do a thing.
Okay. Anyway, he sneaks into the laundry room and takes a bath, because they've got these big tubs that they use to wash the clothes.
And he smells like shit.
Yep, probably. And then he takes a servant's uniform. So he's going to try to sneak around.
And nobody will notice this half goat man sneaking around.
I mean, he's not the only fairy that's got weird animal parts, to be fair.
All right. Well, now I just want to know more about the animal parts.
Okay, I shouldn't have said that.
Penises. Big old horse cock.
He goes to the Great Hall first and sees Ren on her throne. She's arguing with Bogdana, who's the Storm Hag. Also kind of her mother, is what we found out at the end of the last book. And she looks sick, so something's not right.
Also, I just realized that I just told people if they wanted to advertise here to let us know, and then I said big old horse cock, and I think I understand why we don't have any advertisers.
This is why we're not making money. It's all Justin's fault.
All my fault, and the horse cocks.
Yeah.
But hey, the horse cocks are bringing in the listeners. You guys are here for the horse cock, and I'm delivering it.
Okay.
All
Can we move on?
Yeah, sorry, sidetracked. My brain works that way. It's just holes in it. I'm like Robert F. Kennedy, brainworms. Continue.
Oh my god. In Queen of Nothing, Jude met a hag whose name was Mother Marrow.
Vaguely remember.
She gave her a walnut and it had a dress inside of it.
Yeah.
Guess who else is there with Bogdana and Ren?
Another hag.
It's Mother Marrow.
Okay.
It's
I thought
the
it was
same
gonna
one.
be. I thought it was gonna be that Bogdana was gonna be the hag.
No,
Just had a different name because that's what people do.
No, Justin. It's the same one.
So they're just a gaggle of hags.
Sure.
What do you call a group of hags?
I don't know.
They got a name. Gaggle seems pretty good.
Okay.
Like a murder of crows, a pride of lions, a gaggle of hags.
Okay. Gaggle of hags. Sure. She gives Ren a walnut that turns into a cottage. So this is the thing she does. Is she's got
Just
walnuts. That,
handing out magic walnuts.
yep.
That's an odd thing. It just, like, that's a weird choice to have made, that it's a walnut.
Well, maybe she really likes walnuts.
Nobody really likes walnuts. They're not that good.
Okay.
Almonds are the superior nut. And cashews. Cashews are delightful.
Okay. Anyway. Oak follows Ren, like, just to see where she's going. And then she goes into her room, so he waits a while. And then he sees her asleep. And then she wakes up and sees him. And then she orders him to be silent and do as she says. I think this is when she puts the bridle on him. So that thing that scarred her because she had to wear it for a long time as a kid.
Yeah.
He is now wearing it. That's why she orders him around, because that's what the bridle is for.
Right.
He tries to apologize to her, but then she summons the guards who let him escape. And then she orders Oak to crawl on the floor.
Okay.
She's trying to humiliate him. Strawn and another guard enter the room. Ren has them bind Oak. Oak asks what she's going to do with him. She says she's figuring it out and then sends him back to the cell.
I thought it was going to turn into like a BDSM thing because she had him all
No.
bound up and mouth gagged and she was going to do all kinds of weird freaky shit. This book was going to take a wild turn. It didn't. She just sent him back to prison.
Not that kind of book, Justin.
Well, yeah, I know you read those kinds of books.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I don't think I've read anything that has like BDSM actually.
No fetish stuff.
Not like that anyway.
50 Shades of Grey.
I think the choking in Quicksilver was about as fetishy as it's gotten for me.
Okay.
Okay.
50 Shades of Grey is not even real fetish. That's
No.
that's softcore porn from somebody who used to sell hardcore porn for a living. Didn't do anything for me.
No. The other guard's name is Valen, and he is one of Maddox's generals. And he's going to torture some information out of Oak. So he takes him to this room that's got a table and like chains on the table. Because we're going real medieval.
Okay, so like a rack?
Kind of, I think. Valen kills one of the other guards and then starts to beat the shit out of Oak. But then Oak, if you remember, is a love talker, quote unquote. He uses his gift to subdue Valen, but then Valen breaks free and knocks him out. Oak then has a dream about Locke, but like as a fox.
Okay.
Fairies.
Yeah.
He says you're gonna die like her and me, murdered by your own lover. So, some kind of weird prophecy thing. He comes to with Bogdana standing outside of his cell. She threatens him and Carded. That's a thing she likes to do, is just threaten people a whole bunch.
Right. Because she's a hag.
Yeah. He wakes up later to see 3 soldiers. He starts fighting them. Thinks he's gonna go to the interrogation room again. But then Hyacinth yells his name. And says Ren wants to have dinner with him. So we've done a big turnaround all of a sudden.
Yeah, because he's all beat up and looks like shit.
Yeah.
Now she wants to have dinner with him.
And then Hyacinth asks how Oak got hurt. And then Oak just says that Valen killed Bran. Also, do you remember who Hyacinth is?
I remember the name.
So, he used to be part Birdman.
Right. Bird person.
Ren broke his curse.
Yeah.
Also,
Didn't have a beak, we decided last time.
no, did not have
I
a
was
beak.
real concerned about the beak.
No beak.
Just a wing.
Also, Oak's friend Tiernan, Hyacinth is Tiernan's ex.
Okay.
So,
Also named after a plant.
yes, we named our daughter after a plant, to be fair.
I mean, after a tree.
Still,
Also a place in Colorado.
yes. But for the record, maybe don't throw that particular shade.
I mean, it's Hyacinth is kind of an obscure one.
It is. So is our daughter's name.
I mean, it's not obscure. It's different.
I have not met anyone else with that name so far.
Well, neither have I, but that doesn't mean it's obscure.
Okay.
Hyacinth.
What do you think obscure means?
I mean, hyacinth is weird.
All right.
It's not a people name.
Okay.
Maybe
Well,
it's a-
he's not a people. He's a fairy.
I was just about to say, maybe it's a fairy name. Maybe they just name things after nature.
Okay.
Name each other waterfall and rainbow and shit.
Oh, you made your point.
Horsecock. this is my friend Horsecock. That's hyacinth and rainbow over there. Waterfall. Goat penis.
Are you done? Hyacinth says Ren and the trolls are building a wall around the ice citadel.
Around Mexico. Oh, no. Different kind of wall.
I knew you were going to go there.
Build the wall, make them pay for it. That's what they're doing.
And then he says that Ren's power is unmaking her. So that's why she looks sick. It's like she's using too much of it. So it's,
Oh, right.
Fucking her up.
Because she's magic.
yeah, that's,
And she can unmake magic. She's unmaking herself.
yeah, kind
Yeah.
of in the process, yeah. And then takes Oak into her bedroom.
It's like cancer. She's got cancer.
I mean, not quite.
Fairy cancer.
Okay, sure, we'll go with that. Oak finds a book, and there's a stalk of ragwort hidden inside of it. And ragwort can be used to make, like, weird horse things.
Okay.
Do you remember that part at least?
Yeah. I don't know why you don't just ride a giant fucking frog, because they did that one time and then it never got mentioned ever again.
Well,
The giant frogs just disappeared from this story. Whole universe.
they're very far up north. I'm sure giant frogs are hard to find.
I mean, I don't know the territory of giant frogs and where they live, but nowhere actually is where they live. But I like how that was a big thing in the first book, and then you never mention them again.
It wasn't a big thing. It was a thing that happened that I mentioned because I thought you would think it was funny.
I really latched onto it, and now all these giant frogs are gone, and I'm real concerned about where they've gone. I need a
Okay.
book about the giant frogs. Who wrote this book?
Holly Black.
Hey, Holly, I know you're listening. Do me a favor, write a book about the giant frogs. Let me know all about them, where they're from, what they're doing, how they live, how they built their society. I need to know. Sarah will read it, and then I'll probably make fun of it. But put a good cover on it, at least. All right, continue.
Okay. Oak meets Ren in a dining room and tries to flirt with her. She's like threatening him to put him back in the dungeon, and he's like, if I had to remain there to be here, then I have no complaints.
I mean,
So-
seeing as she's had these guards beat the shit out of him for the last couple of days, and he's all fucked up, and now he's like, I'm gonna hit on this broad. He's got an awful lot of confidence.
Yes. I think at this point though, like the guards went further than Ren thought that they would. She didn't tell them to do that to him.
Well,
But either way, he starts trying to say that he loves her, and she's like, no, no. And then he asks her to take off the bridle. He says that he'll talk to Jude for her and help them come to some kind of agreement. And says that he never pretended to like her. He always liked her. Because that's what she thinks right now, is that like he strung her along to fulfill this quest.
oh, okay.
She tells him to go back to the room and tells the guards to make sure they pass the Great Hall. And then this is when they see that Valen is dead. He's been stuck to the wall. So the guard that was beating the shit out of him, she killed the guard.
Oh, okay.
So,
Stuck to the wall.
yeah, because the walls are ice, and they
Oh, okay.
picked him
Right.
into it.
I guess I wasn't picturing the walls being ice.
Yeah, it's a big castle made of ice.
Okay, so they just hung him up there.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's a good new decoration they got.
I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one or not, but the Lord Gerald's former wives, maybe?
I think you did glaze over that they were
Inside
ice.
the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that briefly.
Yeah.
That's a good place to keep your ex-wives. I got a couple of those.
But
Put
it's
them
not-
in ice. I don't want to look at them, but put them in ice.
I was going to say, please don't put them in ice in our house.
Not in our house, but put them in ice somewhere. Throw it to the bottom of the ocean. Put them
Okay.
down there with the Titanic submersible. Couple billionaires down at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay. Oak blames himself for Maddox going into exile because Maddox only attempted this coup so that Oak could take the throne because he was convinced that Oak needed to be the one on the throne because Oak was the heir. It was a whole thing.
So now he's upset about his dad being a cunt?
Yeah.
Idiot.
Maddox is the one who taught him how to sword fight, so that's why he's real fucking good at it.
Okay, that makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah. So he goes back to his room, gets like a big blanket and wraps himself up on it, and then leaves. So he's like trying to hide himself.
Okay. He's doing that thing where he throws a blanket over his head and he runs around and acts like a ghost and goes, "Woo."
Yeah, like our daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's a ghost now.
He's trying to think of ways to protect Surin, and then he hears and sees the army of Elfhame. So they are already there. He runs into a servant who bargained with Lady Nor, who's now dead. Ren exploded her at the end of the last book.
Boom.
Yeah. The servant says, "Mortals found my family. I promised if they were returned to me, I would loyally work in the Citadel until the royal family dismissed me." So that was the issue with that particular promise. Until the royal family dismissed me. That's way too vague. So,
Yeah, because isn't Oak part of the royal family?
well, yeah. And then, because the next thing Oak does and says, "I'm part of the royal family, you're dismissed.
Dismissed.
Congratulations."
Bye. End of story. Book's over.
Offers to fulfill his bargain if the guy gets him clothes and sends a message to the high court. And then this guy is like, "Yeah, sure, also you're kind of hot." And Oak is like, "That's not the right time for this."
Also, hey, nice goat penis. Got a big old hog on you. Checking that out.
Okay. So Oak hides a knife in his clothes and waits for Hyacinth. And then he asks Hyacinth to remove the bridle because, like, this is a very serious, powerful, magical thing. Hyacinth says he will if Oak brings him the hand of the person who poisoned Liriope. So Hyacinth is avenging his father who worked for Liriope, who was involved with that whole plot somehow. I don't even remember how.
And now he wants a hand.
Now he wants a hand.
Okay. Couldn't he just cut off anybody's hand? Be like, here you go. Found it.
Well, that's the thing about faerie promises, because Oak made a promise.
Oh, right. You can't lie about it.
No.
That's a real problem in this whole community, is that they're not able to lie.
Yes. But he does take the bridle off and then leaves ahead of Oak. So Oak goes to the Great Hall. He sees Randolin, the Minister of Keys, who you said just needed a keychain for everything.
Yep.
Tiernan, his friend. Grima Mogg, who's the other red cap who became the general after Maddox.
Okay.
And then the ghost. Oak says he and Ren are engaged and gives her the ring from the snake. So Oak is trying to deflect a war by saying that the only reason he stayed in the Ice Citadel was because he was courting his fiancée.
Okay.
So Ren reluctantly agrees. She's like, sure.
Okay.
They're all going to go back to the High Court, and the wedding will be 3 days later.
That was a quick turnaround.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, they've never planned a wedding before. Planning a wedding is not a thing that you can get done in 3 days.
Hell no.
Well, I guess they're running off to Vegas, maybe. Getting married in one of those drive-through chapels by an Elvis impersonator.
Can you imagine an Elvis impersonator in, like, a fairy world?
What, do you have goat legs?
Maybe. I don't know.
I would like to think that they all listen to Elvis because they are adjacent to a human world.
Okay.
And they're all just Elvis fans.
There might be.
They could be.
They could be.
And they should be, because Elvis is definitely the greatest musician of all time. Facts. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
David Bowie. Anyway, let's keep going.
I mean, Bowie's great and all, but he's no Elvis. He doesn't have anywhere near the catalog.
He also lived a lot longer.
He did. So, Elvis got more done in the last time.
All right. We're not getting into this now.
Elvis.
Anyway, Ren tells Oak he's only delaying the inevitable, that there's going to be some kind of war regardless of what he does. And then has Hyacinth take him back to his room. Oak tells Hyacinth he would have been executed if they hadn't taken him, and then calls him a coward and says he wanted to hurt Tiernan. So, like, they took him as prisoner back in the beginning of the last book so that he wouldn't be executed. And then Hyacinth punches him in the face.
Take that. Punch him in the groin.
But then Oak pulls out the knife that he has, and then they just stare at each other for a minute.
Get stabby.
Yeah. But then Tiernan finds him. And Oak is like, oh, we were fighting over you. Isn't that fun? Oak goes upstairs and then stops to eavesdrop for a minute. Because Tiernan and Hyacinth are having this conversation. Yeah, I think it's Tiernan who says, 3 times I put aside my duty for you, and 3 times you spurned it. And he says, Hyacinth will only ever want vengeance. Joy is never guaranteed, but you can wed yourself to pain.
Why do they always speak in riddles?
I mean, it's not riddles. It's just they don't speak like normal American English.
I feel like I would struggle to get through any dialogue in this book. It's like, God, this doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Okay.
Everything's like a Shakespeare poem.
It's not that bad. Oak runs upstairs before they start making out because he thinks that's what's about to happen. Is they're having some like big fight now, and then.
And since everybody in this world whenever they get mad at each other, they feel like they have to have sex. For some reason, that turns them all on whenever they get angry. Must be a fairy thing too.
Okay.
Bunch of fairies.
The servant that Oak flirted with comes into his room the next morning and says that they're leaving that day. And then knights come to take him to the boat because the ice citadel is very far north. They're not going to cross all the ice. They're going to get on a boat.
Okay, they're gonna boat. Going boating.
Going boating. Ren is riding in a carriage. Oak rides this horse called Damselfly. Grimamog.
Nobody rides a frog.
No. I mean, I don't...
Although, in fairness, wouldn't a frog be a great mode of transportation, being amphibious? He could hop you to the water and then swim you the rest of the way.
But then you would be in the water also, and that's cold-ass water.
You're on the back of the frog. Frogs can swim on the top. They don't dive.
You'd probably still get wet.
And you might get damp.
In that cold-ass water?
Well,
Hypothermia?
just maybe put like a Pope mobile on the top of the frog.
I don't even know what that is.
You know the Pope mobile? Pope rides around in a
Okay.
big golf cart with bulletproof glass around it. Because of all the people on the planet, he's the most worried about dying. If anything, he should be excited about it because he thinks he knows where he's going. Anyway, put a Pope mobile on the back of the frog.
Okay, now we're talking about the Pope, and I don't know how that happened. Grimamog and the army are going to stay at the Ice Citadel until the new treaty is signed. Surin gets on the boat, and she's got falcons with her. And those falcons can now turn into soldiers.
Okay.
Because the curse that Jude put on them was that they were going to stay falcons.
Oh, right.
But then she broke the curse.
So they're the people who stormed the Capitol.
Yes.
Right. Bird people.
Yeah. Yeah. They're bird people.
They do have beaks.
When they're birds, yes.
Right now, yeah.
Okay. Oak is worried that Jude is going to punish Ren, so he goes to talk to her. He really didn't want Bogdana to come with them. Tiernan says Madoc is back in Elfhame, so Madoc, I guess, is no longer in exile. So he got what he wanted.
He's out.
Oak asks Tiernan if he still loves Hyacinth. It is more the feeling that there is part of me I have left somewhere and I am always looking for. So, like, yes and no.
Again, speaking in riddles.
All right.
He could have just said yes and no.
Okay. So this boat trip is supposed to take 3 days, which is conveniently how long they have until they gotta get married.
The wedding.
Yeah.
So they're doing all their wedding planning from a boat.
Basically.
Probably don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'm gonna say no.
The frog would have had Wi-Fi. I'm just saying. Frogs have onboard Wi-Fi.
I'm glad you're feeling confident about that.
It's my assumption.
Okay.
Rivet.
Randolin, the Minister of Keys, starts bragging and saying that this engagement was his idea. He planned the whole thing. So
Motherfucker, you started planning the wedding then, huh?
Brandon really likes the sound of his own voice. We'll hear more
I
about
can't
that.
possibly relate to that. Although I sound delightful on these podcasts.
Okay.
That's what I've been told. I've got fans.
And then Randolin says, I told Jude. She proposed violent solutions, but you know how mortals are. So he's still not happy about having a mortal queen,
Oh.
holding it against her. Oak is summoned by Ren. She wants to break off the engagement, because as far as she's concerned, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. He agrees to, like, they'll put off the wedding for a little while, and then they'll let Jude think that they'll let Jude think that Jude broke them up. And that way they won't have to deal with any political fallout. At dinner, Bogdana tells a story about a girl with a magic matchbook. Basically, the moral of the story is that, like, if you use too much magic, it's gonna burn you out. Ren goes to her room, and Oak follows.
How big of a boat is this?
I mean, it's a real big boat.
I just assumed they were in like a little rowboat kind of thing, like a little small deal, and it turns out it's more like
it's like a royal procession, actually. Because you
Okay.
gotta think, he's the heir,
So it's like
she's the queen.
It's like a cruise.
Based out, not quite that big, but
Or on a princess cruise or
I
whatever.
imagine like, I kind of like one of those real big pirate ships, honestly.
Yar.
Yeah, except
So you didn't want to say pirates because you know how it gets whenever
I
talk
know
about
you like
pirates.
to talk about pirates.
Or is it more like a yacht?
No, it's I don't actually know a lot about yachts, so I don't know.
I mean, yachts vary in size, but I think if it's a yacht, they've got to listen to like Christopher Cross. And
I'm a
Yacht
poor
Pop.
person. I don't think I've ever seen a yacht.
I mean, I watched Below Deck for a handful of
Okay.
seasons, so that's my yacht experience. Is I watched like 7 seasons of Below Deck, and still they started switching up the cast, and all the characters that I liked were gone. It wasn't any fun anymore. It was just a bunch of rich people on a boat
Okay.
complaining about the food.
Okay. Oak asks if her magic is like the matches in the story. So, like, are you gonna burn out and die because of your magic?
Well, no, because they're fairies and they can't die, right?
So they can get hurt and die. They live very, very, very long lives, but they can get hurt. And so, like, something like this might be possible, especially considering she's not really a fairy.
Right. What is she?
Unclear.
Okay.
She's some kind of magical creature.
Some kind of monster, whatever. Smurf.
Yeah. She wants to know about Oak's magic, so he compels her to pick up a cup and says that he wants to take her places and, like, basically starts getting real flowery with it. She gets upset and then kicks him out. She's like, I wanted to see it, but not like that.
He goes full like 2 girls, 1 cup on her.
No. Oh my god.
You didn't know you were getting a 2 girls, 1 cup reference on this podcast today, did you?
If you ever need proof that God, there are certain things, if you put them on the internet, they're going to live forever.
It's still out there.
It's still out
harder to find. It doesn't have its own website anymore, but it's still out there.
I didn't
You can
even
get it.
remember it had the, oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of those websites. Lemon Party and Tub Girl and 4 Girls Finger Paint. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't recommend searching for any of that stuff.
Good to know. Anyway, during the night, the undersea attacks with a kraken. So, big octopus.
Yeah. I mean, krakens have been portrayed in a multitude of different ways.
Well,
but
I always imagine it
Yeah.
as like big ass octopus.
like a squid octopus thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They actually think that it was like a giant squid, is
Yeah.
what they were saying. And then they were, oh, it's a monster, call it a kraken. Which, in fairness, giant squid, yeah, it's a fucking monster.
Yeah, it is. During the fight, Tiernan goes overboard, so Oak and Hyacinth jump in after him. The ghost pulls them all back on board. Ren uses her magic to unmake the monster. She just basically thinks about it and then it's gone.
No more kraken.
No more kraken.
All right.
And then Bogdana creates a storm to make the ship fly because Bogdana is a storm hag. Specifically.
Well, if they were gonna fucking fly there,
Well, they thought the water was safe.
they should have just taken a plane. Would have
Okay.
been quicker.
Alright.
If you have somebody who's got the power to make it possible for you to fucking fly somewhere, that's probably the shortest
But they
distance.
wanted to take their fancy boat.
Oh, yeah. Okay, everybody hop on the boat. We're gonna float this motherfucker up in the sky. We're gonna fly there.
Okay.
Stupid.
Wren collapses, and then Oak takes her to her room. She's like out of it, and she asks, "Have you ever wondered if anyone truly loved you?" He sits with her until she falls asleep. They are still flying through the air, and then Hyacinth reminds him about the deal they made. He wants a hand.
Right.
Tiernan is mad that Oak in particular jumped in to rescue him because Oak is the heir to the throne. He's not supposed to do stupid shit like that. And then the ghost says Oak reminds him of Dane. Dane is...
Way back in the first book.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that name.
I mean, technically he died at the end of the second book.
Whatever.
But anyway. And then Oak realizes if he does marry Wren, he'll be a king. Maybe not necessarily the king of Elfhame, but because Wren is already a queen.
Yeah, so he's gonna be fucked either way.
Yeah. And then he asks Ghost, who poisoned Lirio? Ghost says Locke had the answer you seek. He knew the name of the poisoner. Do you remember who it was that poisoned Lirio?
No.
It was the ghost.
Oh, okay. Casper.
Not that ghost. And-
We've had to watch the Casper movie. The 1993 Casper movie has become our 4-year-old daughter's favorite movie. And we have watched that goddamn movie so many times in the last couple weeks. Also, fun fact about that movie, because I can tell from the look on your face that you want me to get a sidetrack and talk about Casper. Fun fact about that movie, it was the first movie ever where the lead character was completely CGI. Fun fact, you should know. Justin's movie reviews, Casper.
Okay. Anyway. They arrive at Elfhame. Most of the court is waiting for them. Oak can tell that Wren is nervous. Cardan says they're going to have dinner tomorrow night. And then says one of the contenders for Queen Nicasia's hand attacked the ship. So, I don't know if you remember this, but it was briefly mentioned in the book before that Nicasia was having these people compete to see which one of them was worthy of marrying her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what the Kraken was about.
Also, they're going to eat dinner tomorrow night. What do you eat on a boat that's now flying through the air?
Well, no,
for
they're
dinner?
not. They're not on the boat anymore. They're at Elfhame. I said that.
Oh, okay.
They're on the island now.
Okay. I mean, I assumed while they were in the water, you'd just catch some fish.
Well, yeah.
Or eat some Kraken. Leftover Kraken.
Maybe they were. Unclear. They did eat the snake.
Yeah, they did eat the snake, so you might eat leftover Kraken.
Ugh. Okay.
And that's right, you don't like seafood.
Well,
It's just big old calamari. That sounds pretty good.
it was less that and more that like the snake thing in particular was a little too close to cannibalism.
I've eaten rattlesnake before, and it's delightful.
Okay.
I haven't eaten people, though.
But have you eaten snake that was a person and then was not a person?
Does that count, though? Because if you're a person and you turn into a snake, and then you're not the snake anymore, but the body of the snake's still there, and you eat that, is that people meat, or is that snake meat?
That's what I'm saying. It's a little unclear and it makes me uncomfortable.
I'm not uncomfortable about it at all. I bet it's delicious.
Okay. All right.
If you cook it right. It's got to be prepared.
We're moving
Seasoned
on.
sauce.
Moving on. Oh my god. Jude tries to stall the wedding because she does not want this to happen. Oak takes a bath and then afterward talks to Jude. He tells her, like, flat out what his plan was. Says that he spent time with Wren when Cardan was a snake. So, like, he was friends with Wren for a long time, even if they hadn't seen each other in a while. The day after that, Maddox comes to talk to Oak about why the marriage isn't a good idea.
He's the Incredible Hulk, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Oriana comes in, and Oriana says she forbids the marriage.
I mean,
Not really her call.
yeah.
And nice try. Oak decides that he's going to have a picnic with Wren, so he grabs a bunch of stuff and goes to find her. Tells her that he loves her.
Who the hell has a picnic?
People in Faerie, I guess. Doing fairy stuff.
Picnic's a terrible way to eat a meal.
Okay.
Bugs and grass.
She wants him to call off the marriage, and he's trying to figure out why, and she says, "You don't understand, and I can't explain."
How clear of you.
Yeah, well. We'll see. Oak stomps away and goes to Mother Marrow's house. So the other hag with the walnuts.
Walnut hag.
She says she had a daughter and tried to trick Carden into marrying that daughter. Do you remember that part?
No.
She made a cloak and she confessed that if Carden had accepted the cloak, it was like magically gonna make him either marry her or her daughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Mother Marrow says Ren's curse can't be broken. So, like, if they take the heart out of her, she's gonna die.
Yeah, that's typically how that would work.
Yeah, hearts in general, that's how that works. Oak wants to find time to talk to Carden because he is still under the assumption that Carden thinks Oak is willingly a part of these plots against the throne, that he might be trying to overthrow Carden instead of what Oak is actually doing, instead of, like, trying to get to the bottom of it before it escalates. Lady Elaine finds him, a girl he was sleeping with way back in the beginning.
Right.
She knows that he's engaged.
Let me guess, she tries to stop the wedding. As everybody else has.
Well, but she still wants to meet with him. She says when the moon is at its zenith. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zenith.
Zenith.
Yeah.
Zenith, whatever.
You know, Zenith used to be the name of big TV and VCR manufacturer.
Okay. I think I remember that, actually.
We had a Zenith TV when I was a kid.
Meet her in the gardens. And her friends. Because her and her friends are planning this coup.
Okay.
He goes to dinner. Ren is standing in front of Jude and Carden. Oak wonders if Jude is less mortal because she spent so much time in Faerie. Like, it's been 10 years since she became queen. She does not really look any older. And I think this was actually confirmed by the author. Because she's spent so much time there, she is aging a lot slower than she would be otherwise.
Okay. Well, that's a fun little fact about moving to the fairy world.
Yeah. Jude and Carden ask for the bridle. Ren has a soldier bring it, and then she's got it in her hand. She just unmakes it right there. So nobody's ever going to wear that ever again.
Okay.
Which is fine, because child abuse.
Right.
And then she threatens to remove Jude's geas. Way back in the first book, Prince, I think it was Dane? Yeah, it was Dane who put the gas on her that made her, like, not able to be compelled by other fairies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ren can sense that in her, and that's what she's threatening to remove right now. And she also says there's half a curse on her, because when she killed, what's-his-face, Valerian, way back in the first book, he kind of half cursed her as he was dying, didn't get to finish it. Ren removes the curse and only the curse. Jude says, Ren has given me quite a gift. I will have to think long and hard about what to give her in return. So Jude is a little mad about it. Partly because no one knew that she had that geas on her, except for like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows.
Cool.
They toast to Ren and Oak's marriage. Ren is really pale. So Oak asks her to dance, partly so he can help her, like, stand up, because she's, like, about to fall over. She says his family hates her, and then she starts talking about her sister, but she can't finish her sentence. She just starts coughing. So he stands her next to a chair and gets drinks. The ghost says he needs to speak with Oak because he overheard something. And then Jack of the Lakes comes up. Jack of the Lakes is the Kelpie who turns into a horse.
Right. Jack o' the Lakes.
Yes.
Because he's Scottish.
Right. He says that he saw Bogdana carrying a trunk. So Oak goes back to Surin. She asks if he really loves her. And then pies are brought out. Bogdana comes in. Oh, Taryn says if you find a coin in a pie, you get a boon. So, like, a favor. Then Bogdana comes in, digs out a coin, and says Ren and Oak are going to get married tomorrow. That's what she wants.
Okay.
For them to get fucking married.
Right now.
Right now. Jude says tomorrow night. And then, but before they can get married, she's going to ask Ren a question. If she gets it wrong, their marriage is going to be delayed for 7 days. If she gets it right, they can get married on the spot. So Jude is still trying her damnedest to delay this as long as possible.
Kick that can down the road even further, huh?
Yeah. Oak agrees to this, but only if he can come up with a question. Ren asks him to meet her at midnight in the garden. Then he eavesdrops on Tiernan and Hyacinth again. Because that's what you do to your friends.
He's real nosy.
Yeah, he's pretty nosy. And the ghost interrupts. Maddox asks if he's going to go through with the marriage. But Oak just walks away. Leander, who is Terran's son, says Maddox knows his secret name. The ghost's secret name, actually. And then this is when Oak connects the dots. It realizes that Ghost poisoned his mother, Lirio. So he goes to the garden. Ren apologizes for locking him up. Says, you could have kept me here, but you let your sister send me away. And he says, I'm sorry, it never occurred to me that you didn't have a home to go back to, because he was just a child when that happened. She says she's not safe and he can't trust her. And then there's nothing at all, but it's very heavily implied that they have sex in the garden.
Okay.
Because that's what you do in faerie.
Garden sex.
Yeah.
Also, have you seen the movie The Fifth Element?
I don't think so.
First of all, we're going to watch that. Say, there's a character in the movie, and she's blue,
Uh-huh.
and as I recall, has sharp teeth. She gets shot in the movie. They're trying to find this artifact. She gets shot in the movie by these aliens, and they end up reaching inside of her, and the artifact is inside of her the whole time. And they've been trying to protect her, and it turns out it's because this thing is inside of her. And I just now am putting together that now you have a blue character with sharp teeth with this thing inside of her.
Oh my god.
And I'm pretty sure that the woman who wrote this book has definitely seen The Fifth Element, because she just put a whole lot of things together.
Okay. I'm not saying it's impossible.
It was a pretty popular movie. I'm kind of surprised you've never seen it. We're definitely going to watch it, because it's fantastic.
Okay.
Justin's Movie Reviews, Fifth Element. Go watch it.
Okay. The two of them are laying in the grass when they hear someone coming, and it's Lady Elaine.
Here's something coming. It was both of them, because they were just having sex.
Okay, I mean, hopefully it was both of them.
One of them was coming.
At least one of them.
Probably a guy, because he's done. Sex is over. That means the guy's done coming.
Okay. Anyway, Oak forgot that he was going to meet her as well. And then Ren gets a little petty and says, I hope he gives you half the delight he's given me.
So, not all the way to an orgasm, I guess.
Ren leaves, and then Oak tries to get Lady Elaine to talk to him about the meeting. She's backing out of the plan for this coup. Oak wakes up the next morning. He's still mad about the ghost, because he's been hanging around the ghost for his entire life, basically. Oh, by the way, he murdered my mother. Nobody told me that.
Cool.
He thinks Ren might be in trouble. And then a servant comes in and says Jude might want him to marry Nicasia instead of Ren.
Okay. Wasn't Nicasia pretty terrible in the previous?
Yeah, not great. She had a slight turnaround at the end of the last book, but
She was pretty awful.
yeah. So he rides, Jack turns into a horse again, and he rides Jack to go meet with everybody. And then he talks to Ren and says they could have an agreement. But she says tonight is too late. It may already be too late. So they're having this big hunt before they do like the marriage thing. Oriana finds him. She says, ask her your fondest memory, or perhaps your deepest secret. They're clever questions. They seem difficult, but she might well be able to guess both. Not a bad suggestion. So because like they don't actually know each other that well. So this question that Jude is going to ask her, Oak wants it to be something that Ren will actually know the answer to somehow, or figure it out somehow. She says, Oriana says Jude would not send him to the undersea, because Jude was kept down there for like a month, and she doesn't want to be involved with them any more than she needs to be.
Fish people.
Yeah. Oriana leaves, and then Hyacinth finds him and says he heard him and Leander last night. So he also knows that the ghost is the one who poisoned Lirio. So he demands the ghost's hand, because that was their deal.
Yep. I'll cut his hand off. I want that.
And then the ghost walks up to them. The ghost offers Oak a drink and asks Oak to come with him. Oak says he can't, and the ghost says to find him soon. But then Oak is like, I gotta see what's going on, so he follows him and then realizes he's been poisoned. He thinks the ghost did it because the ghost has poisoned someone before.
Kind of his MO.
Except then he finds the ghost's body. So he's like just passed out on the ground. People start showing up. Taryn screams because at this point her and the ghost are like involved somehow.
Okay.
Cardin turns him into a tree to keep the poison from spreading.
He's just a tree now.
And he's not sure if it's going to be permanent or not.
Okay. Well, now theoretically, couldn't he just break off a branch and go, here's his hand?
I guess. That's one way to look at it. Taryn accuses Ren of poisoning him. Ren does not say anything. She's completely silent the whole time. Oak says the poison was in the mead and he drank it too. And then Bogdana can turn into an owl. She's on Ren's shoulder. And Oak realizes something is wrong. And says that he's not the one who needs saving. Ren still won't say anything when Taryn accuses her. Cardin tells Ren to go with the knights and Tiernan goes with her. Randolin says that they should go to the tents. And then Oak asks why they don't suspect him in particular. And says he knows the ghost poisoned his mother. Randolin again says they should go to the tents. And then there's another scream. And someone found another body. And it's Lady Elaine, so she's dead now.
Is she dead now, or can we turn her into a tree too?
I think for her it's too late. She did.
She did. Okay.
The roach says ghost regretted poisoning Leary Oak. And Oak knows something is wrong, but he can't quite figure it out. They're in the royal tent finally. And Jude asks if he's ready to talk. So he asks about Ren. Jude says she's gone. She's just left. She asks if Oak helped her escape. Oak tells him he tricked Ren, so she threw him in prison. And says that Jude overreacted to the whole thing. Which that's kind of what Jude does. Like, how did you not know that was going to happen? Arrows start flying in toward Jude. Not Jude. Cardin blocks one with his magic cloak because he's still got that magic fancy cloak. But then someone throws a knife into Cardin's chest, and then Randolin is just standing there looking like an asshole because the whole thing was a trap.
It's a trap.
Yes. Yeah. You don't even like Star Wars.
I don't, but I like that guy.
Okay.
He's a fish man.
Jude kneels next to Cardin and then threatens Randolin. Randolin says mortals are not meant to sit on our thrones. So Randolin, whatever's going on right now, he had a part in it specifically to get Jude off the throne.
Alright. He's a little bit out of shape over that still.
Yeah. It's been like 9 or 10 years, but
Yeah.
he's still mad about it. Bogdana created a storm so that they can't get help. Nobody can get to them in or out. Randolin poisoned the ghost and Lady Elaine. And then Oak pulls out a sword and goes nuts to the point where he blacks out. Jude gets him to calm down and asks what the fuck Manik did to him to turn him into this crazy person. He just starts swinging swords and blacking out.
So did he kill a whole bunch of people, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just said he went nuts, like he could have just been swinging the sword around like a crazy person, but he was straight up killing people.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Yeah.
on it.
Randolin and all the guards are dead.
Okay.
Cardin is still bleeding, but not quite dead. But again, like, he can live a long time, but if he gets hurt bad enough, he is gonna die.
Right.
Cardin wants to lock up Oak, where he won't be so tempting to traitors. Jude says they wanted to protect him, and that's why they didn't tell him about the ghost. That's what everybody says about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to protect everybody, but they're also all killing each other.
Yeah. And they can't get through the storm. Oak says he's gonna go find Ren. Hyacinth comes with him. Bogdana is supposedly waiting for some kind of signal from Randolin, which is not going to happen because now Randolin is dead.
Right.
And also their marriage never happened. Hyacinth says they're on one of the other islands in a walnut cottage. They find Jack of the Lakes and ask him to swim to the island underwater, so away from the storm. It's the only way they're going to get there. And they barely make it. But Oak goes looking for Ren, and then sees a bunch of falcons, and then there is Ren sitting on a boulder. He goes to her and says they can do their vows right there, just get married and get it over with. Tells her to close her eyes. He grabs his sword, because at this point he's thinking like he's got to kill her in order to like destroy whatever plot is happening right now. But then he starts thinking and realizes Bogdana must have her sister. That's why Ren wasn't able to say anything. She's got to be under some kind of vow. Because she's a fairy, and that's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Bogdana made Ren swear her silence and hid her sister, Rebecca. Ren gives him a walnut and says Tiernan is inside because the walnut is a cottage.
Of course.
He runs back to Jack and Hyacinth, and he thinks he knows where Rebecca is. They go to Mother Mara's cottage, and she's inside there. Oak says he wants 3 guesses. If he's right, he takes Rebecca. If he's wrong, he'll serve Mother Mara for a year. He guesses that she's in a walnut, and Mother Mara's like, no, you're going to have to be more specific. And he's like, no, I don't think so. And then he just starts throwing walnuts on the floor, like breaking them apart until something happens.
Why doesn't he just fucking knife her ass down like he sorted down everybody else earlier? Stabbed everybody.
Because I think he needs her to get one of the nuts open.
Just get all stabby and then start smashing these nuts.
Okay.
Smashing these nuts.
Damn it. You proud of yourself?
These nuts.
Okay.
Funny every time. These nuts into butthole.
Are you 12?
You're laughing. It's funny.
Instead, she traps him in a nut with Rebecca.
God damn it.
Rebecca is afraid of Oak because she's heard a lot about fairies in general.
I mean, that's fair.
Yep.
They're all kind of nuts.
Yeah. But Hyacinth manages to get them out. Oak tells Mother Mara he won't tell the king and queen what she did. I don't remember why. Bogdana comes in and Oak tells Jack and Hyacinth to take Rebecca to Ren. And then Oak just surrenders so he can see Ren one more time. They go back to the other island and see Jude and Ren having like a big standoff because Jude still thinks that Ren was an active participant in this attempt to overthrow her and Carden that just happened. But Ren unmakes all of the arrows that come flying at her and also Jude's sword. So,
What you gonna do?
what you gonna do? He tells Ren that he's got her sister. Then Bogdana is like, no, don't believe him. They go back and forth. Ren is not sure if Rebecca's really safe. Jude is also stalling for some reason. And Bogdana says, what if I give you Oak's head instead of Carden's? Oh, no, that's Jude. Oak and Juden will fight if he wins. Surin's going to keep him. If Jude wins, she and Carden can run. And so the roach brings them swords, including the one that cut through Snake Carden, which was big fancy magic sword.
Right. Super sword.
Super sword. Jude says Carden is getting everyone off the island. He says Ren is being blackmailed. They get closer to Bogdana, and then Rebecca comes running out. Bogdana says he'll use that mortal girl to manipulate you to do exactly what he wants. Ren tells Bogdana that she should have trusted her instead of taking her sister. Tells Rebecca that Oak is a friend. And then Ren says, I was never meant to survive. The magic that knits me together would have been eaten away. So Ren unmakes the whole storm and then collapses. Oak yells at Bogdana and says she never cared for Ren, which is valid. Bogdana says Ren might still wake up. So Oak tries to use like his fancy love-talking stuff to bring her back. But she does breathe and open her eyes. So Rebecca hugs him. He picks up Ren, takes her to his room in the palace. Bogdana is put in the prison. They probably should have just fucking killed her.
Yeah. Why didn't he just, like, instead of standing around chit-chatting with her, why doesn't he just... There's so many problems that could have just been alleviated if he would have just started killing people. Doesn't make any sense. You've already killed a buttload of people. Why stop when you can start solving all of your problems with violence?
Okay. Multiple days go by. Surin is not waking up. Her skin is getting really dull. Rebecca's in the room with her, and all of a sudden she screams because she sees something moving underneath Ren's skin.
Okay.
Creepy.
Yep.
And then her skin opens up like a cocoon, and she comes out, and she's got wings now.
What the fuck?
Oak is just staring at her, and Rebecca says, "You should probably stop staring at her like you never saw a naked girl with wings before." So he leaves Ren and Rebecca in his room, because they need a minute. And then he finds Maddox and starts talking about his mortal wife. He says, "I shouldn't have left her so much alone. I shouldn't have forgotten that she could lie, or that she thought of her life as brief and would risk much for happiness." So he took a lot of her humanity for granted. That's probably why she fucking left.
Right.
Oak goes to Tiernan's room and finds him in bed with Hyacinth. So they made up officially.
Okay. Well, and he's probably... What, was he just spying on them again? Because that's what he does.
I don't think he was trying to at that point. I think he just didn't knock and he just walked in the room.
Okay.
Okay. He formally dismisses Tiernan from his service so that they can be friends officially. Oak goes back to his room and finds that Ren and Rebecca are gone. There's a note from Ren, and she says she's not going to make him marry her. And then he gets summoned to Jude and Cardin's room, and Jude finally was like, "Okay, I get it. You don't want to be king. You can abdicate if you want. If you don't want to be the heir, we'll make it official. You don't have to be the heir." And then Cardin says he wants to talk to him alone. And then Oak says to Cardin, "You twist the truth so far that I'm surprised it doesn't cry out in agony." So Cardin likes to play a lot of word games.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Cardin says, "I recognized your game, not at first, but long before Jude." So Cardin has known for a long time that Oak has been doing this thing where he throws himself in danger to protect everybody else. Says Oak has to wait a few months before he can abdicate because they have to go to the Undersea. They have to do this thing with Nicasia. But he does a few months later. He goes back to the Ice Citadel, except it's now made of obsidian instead of ice.
Should have been made of water because it all melted.
Okay.
Probably had to just rebuild it, huh?
And he finds Ren in the library.
Because it's always the library.
It's always the library. I know you like that. So she wants him to stay, and he says he will become the king there. So he won't be the king in Alpine, but he's still going to be a king.
Okay.
The end.
The end?
That's the whole book.
All right. There were too many characters.
You say that about all of them.
Well, it really, like, in the, like, last quarter of it there were too many characters, and it's this person, and this person, and this person, and this person. It's just too many.
Okay.
Narrow it down.
All right.
I think there were only, like, 13 characters in the entire movie of Tremors, and it's one of the best movies ever made.
How many times are you going to mention Tremors during this podcast?
Until everyone who's listening to this podcast has watched Tremors.
All 10 people?
All 10 people who listen to this podcast every week. We know who you are. We don't know who you are.
No, we don't. Don't worry.
But listen to Tremors. Or watch Tremors. And listen to us. Listen to me.
All right. What do you think I rated it?
Probably a 4. You've given them all a 4.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been solid 4s on this whole series.
Well, no, I did. I think Wicked King and Queen of Nothing were both 5s. So.
Okay. Well,
Suck it.
I mean, it was fine. I'm glad we're done with all this. There was a lot of characters. I'm just kind of over it with all of them. So, let's start something new.
Okay. Well, lucky for you, I already know what we're going to do next.
Okay, is it not... tell me it's not 5 books. I think I just get burned out when there's so many of... You're looking at me like there's going to be 5 books.
There's 3. It's pretty normal. Trilogies are pretty popular.
Man, why can't they just get it all out in 1 or 2?
Because it's not as fun. I don't know what to tell you.
I have a real hard time
I will
these things.
say, you remind me a lot of the male main character in this next series.
Which I'm sure is like a second or third part character because it's always a female who's the main character in all these books.
Well, really, it's their story combined.
Okay.
They're both major characters in the story.
Okay.
I think Tisana is the main character, but Max is also a very big presence in the books.
Okay. So what's this one called?
It's the War of Lost Heart series. The first one is Daughter of No Worlds.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess so. I guess that's what we're doing next.
It is, in fact.
Look forward to that, kids.
Yep. Also, again, one of my favorite series.
Oh no. So you're gonna tell me to not be mean about it. Which is what happened with this series. And in the first episode, I didn't say a whole lot because I was worried you were going to be mad at me. And then I was like, no, I'm just going to go off the rails in the next one.
And then you did it anyway.
Oh, man, did I ever.
Okay. Follow us on Facebook and TikTok, FAE Podcast.
That's where we'll be.
We will see you next time.
Bye.